I start tonight, I'm going to ask you a favor. I asked some of you to bring stuffed animals. If you have them, that's great. Or if you have any memorabilia from your childhood. I'm going to ask Loretta to put my phone number into the chat. And if you have memorabilia or your stuffed animals, you can take a photograph of them with your name and send them over to me. Okay, so I'd like to get a really good look at them all, then I can comment on them next week. Okay, so if you don't mind, that's a little project I give to you. So if you have something that takes you back to your childhood, if you want to explain it, please feel free to take a photograph of it and send it over to me on my text. Okay, good. I have a lot of fun with them. I enjoy that. Okay, I want to, before I start tonight, also just mention that we're doing the series on codependency, and I want to really emphasize tonight, the importance of making time for yourself and making time to play and have some fun. Because life is not supposed to be work all the time. I have to tell myself that every day, which is a big part of it. I'm going to begin by doing a reading from The Language of Letting Go, the daily meditation book for codependency. And the reading I took is from June 8th. Fun. Have some fun with life, with the day. Life is not drudgery. That is an old belief. Let go of it. We are now on an adventure, a journey. Events will come to pass that we cannot now fathom. Replace heaviness and weariness of spirit with joy. Surround yourself with people and things that bring lightness of spirit. Become sensitive to lightness of spirit. The journey can be an exciting adventure. Let yourself enjoy it. Today I will have some fun with life, with recovery, with people, and with my day. Okay. I want to do something tonight because I kind of put this lecture together because I understand something about codependence and also about adult children of alcoholics. We have a tendency to be very analytical and a tendency also to take life very, 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 very seriously. See, we're always trying to figure things out. I love codependents because codependents love to buy books. They love to have all the information. They love to analyze it. And they love to try to figure themselves out. I joke and say we try to figure out things we can't figure because we have a hard time accepting them. So I'm going to divide tonight's talk on how to play and how to have fun in 3 parts. The first part I want to give you some assignments. Now, I know how excited adult children and codependents get. See how excited John's getting? Whenever I give excitements, these assignments, man, people get excited. I give you the assignments because I know that we need to learn something about ourselves. One of the things is to try to meet your opposite. See, we have a hard time getting in touch with feelings. If you do what I'm going to ask you to do tonight, you'll definitely get in touch with feelings. For example, if you're the type of person that makes their bed every morning, puts everything in order, and their life is a constant thing of things being exactly where they're supposed to be. I'd like you for about 3 days not to make your bed, let everything go. Leave the dishes in the sink. Let your house kind of fall into a little bit of chaos. I know there's a lot of codependence that won't last 1 hour, let alone 3 days. Because it's almost like all of a sudden you're getting out of your comfort zone and you're beginning to feel some things you never felt before. And the anxiety, things will come up, anger, all kinds of things start coming up because we don't realize it. Control is a big piece of codependency. We have a hard time letting go of it. So go with it for a couple of days and see what happens. If you can jot down your feelings, and you want to send them over to me too, I'd love to hear them. It would really be interesting to see what's going on with all that. The second thing I'd like you to do is, if you're the type of person that's always, always, always on time, you're Johnny on the spot, you're right there all the time. For about 2 or 3 days, I would like you to arrive late for everything. Just be late, especially 5 or 10 minutes late. I'm going to tell you a secret. You're going to scare people. See, they're used to you being on time. As soon as you arrive late, they'll wonder, what's wrong? What's the matter with you? What's going on? They'll go through their own anxiety too. It's totally amazing. You come right down to it. But I just get a kick out of these assignments because I know when I had to do them, they actually scared me. Because it's really when you start to let go of all that control stuff, man, your fears come in, all kinds of things start coming in. This is a good way to get in touch with your feelings. The other thing I'd like you to do is I'd like you to pull a prank on someone. Now, Jerome is real good at doing this. But the bottom line is, have some fun. Do something. Pull a prank on someone. Have a good time. But do something, don't do something crazy. You don't want to get arrested. If you do get arrested, don't call me, okay? Please. I'll make believe I don't know you. The bottom line is, try something. I'll give you an example. My women's groups, my men's groups, when I was running them at Starting Point, and part of our responsibility in the groups were to pull pranks on people. Well, they did some on me. So one of the ones was, I remember, never forget this. One of my women's groups probably did the ultimate prank. I got done groups and stuff at nighttime, 10:30 at night, and I was tired. So I went, got my car and drove home. While I was driving home, I was going down the 42 freeway, and everybody was honking horns at me, giving me the thumbs up thing, waving at me, all kinds of crazy stuff. I could not believe what the heck is going on. I kept looking around. I was going crazy. So I finally got home and I said to my wife, the most bizarre ride home I had today. I don't know what people were doing. They were passing me, waving at me, doing all kinds of crazy stuff. I said, I don't know. I went to bed. The next morning, my wife said to me, Vince, I think you should go look at the back trunk of your car. I said, really? Go look, she said. They had pasted on the trunk of the car. They had actually pasted a photograph of 3 ladies in bikinis pasted across the back of the car. I drove down the damn 42 freeway with those 3 ladies on the back of my trunk. And oh my God, I was going to kill them the next day. They got me. They got me good. It's totally amazing. You come right down to it. And I realize over and over again now, that's part of the process we go through in life. And so I really wanted to share that with you because I really believe that's the concept of how we have to look at life and deal with life. Have some fun, okay? Now, my men's group did even a better one. And Jerome, you better not smile through this one, because I think he's one of the culprits. That's why I'm saying that. Anyway, I was driving my car and all of a sudden I heard this noise. It could have been Howie too, I don't know. But I heard this clank, 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 clank going on constantly. And all of a sudden, I stopped the car and the clank stopped. Then all of a sudden, it started again every time I moved. I went to see a mechanic. The mechanic checked the car out, said, I can't find anything wrong with your car. And then he drove and he said, clank, clank, clank. He couldn't figure it out. And then he said, let me try something. He took the hubcap off of my car. Somebody had put 3 beautiful little stones inside my hubcap. So every time I started to drive, I started having this clank, clank, clank noise. I thought my engine was falling out. Well, that was another good one, but it's amazing. If you're ever at Starting Point, take a look at the front door of my office. Somebody put this great big poster on the front door of my office. I've left it there. It's really neat. Has some neat things on it, but nobody will tell me who put it there. And I just saw the eyeballs go up and a smile happen. So I already know who did it. So it's all part of it. But it's a lot of fun. One time my wife and I were a little bit rambunctious. We went to my wife's pretty petite. So we went to the shopping. she decided to get inside the shopping cart. And I pushed her around the store. Well, I just got the biggest kick out of people. Some people really enjoyed it. They come up with high-fiving her and everything. Some people were looking at us like we just committed the worst crime in the whole world. They wouldn't look at us. They would move away from us. You know, it's almost like these must be two crazy people here, but it's fun. Did the same thing because I learned this from my groups. I did the same thing with my grandson, put him in a cart and put the food right in the cart. So we got to the checkout counter, all the food is piled right on top of him. He's holding on to it all. See, what I'm trying to say is sometimes it's good just to get out of your comfort zone and do some things you normally don't do. Go to an amusement park, go someplace. I don't know. If you want to do bungee jumping, do that. I don't care, whatever you want to do, but do something different. Open up your concept. Have some fun. I find that codependents have a hard time with this, but I'll definitely tell you, get in touch with feelings. Now, the second thing I want to talk about tonight are stuffed animals, teddy bears, and memorabilia from your childhood. I really think it's important sometimes to get in touch with your inner child, to go back and look at what I call stuffed animals. But I'll tell you some stories about them. I would hope that maybe you could find some things that interconnect you back to your childhood also. For example, I'm going to tell you the story of one stuffed animal. I brought him in here. This is little Vinny. Little Vinny has been with me, believe it or not, since 1964. I got to tell you his story. In 1964, I was a deacon. It was 2 years before I got ordained, and I was doing my internship. And if you had known me back then, Pat, you would not want to know me back then. I was pretty rigid, pretty uptight, pretty angry, and pretty very much, black and white rules and regulations and stuff to that effect. So one day, I call these God winks. One day, this lady came to the rectory, knocked on the door, and she said to me, I brought you a present. I think you need this. And she gave it to me. Well, of course, I grabbed it like out here. And I said, well, thank you very much. And then when she left, I said, well, if I want to come back and want to know where it is, they always do. So what I did, I took it, put it on the shelf of my office. Don't ask me why. These are God things, I know. I left it there. I got ordained every parish I went to. I brought this little guy with me. He was my ornament on the shelf. I call him my elf on the shelf. It's totally amazing. So he kind of sat there and sat there. Then when I started getting into therapy for my codependency work, one day my therapist said to me, he said, Vince, I want you to bring a stuffed animal with you into your therapy session next week. I looked at him kind of cross-eyed and I said to him, now, I'm paying you for these sessions, right? He said, go get a stuffed animal. So went back to the rectory and I said, well, I guess I got to go to Walmart or someplace and buy a stuffed animal. Then I remembered this guy was sitting on a shelf. I took him off the shelf, put him in a shopping bag and took him to the therapy session. I said to the therapist, here's your stuffed animal. He said, no. It's yours, mine. He had me go in the back room. He had a recliner back there. He put me on the recliner, had me take my stuffed animal, put some nice soft music on, had me hug it towards my heart and my chest. And he said, now put the lights down low. I want you just to listen to the music and be there with your little stuffed animal for the whole entire session. I said, for real? This is supposed to be therapy? He said, yeah. And so literally, I stayed there with that beautiful little stuffed animal. And I stayed there for a long period of time. And the beautiful part about it was, I began to realize, all of a sudden, things started to happen to me that haven't happened in a long time. I started to get in touch with feelings. I even started to get tears in my eyes. I started to feel things like I never felt before. And now I understand something. You know how little kids always have their guys and they want to sleep with them all the time and they're hugging them all the time and they're connecting with them all the time. Their guys are a very important part of who they are. That's an important part of their process. And so one of the things I've learned over the years is kids are great teachers. And those guys that we think about all the time, connect with all the time, they really are their angels. They're still in touch with them. You know, we've heard that concept before about little kids and how they basically, you know, get caught up talking to all their imaginary friends and things to that effect. It's always totally amazing when I look at that and I connect with that, because I really believe that's the concept of how people actually stay in touch with people on the other side. I'll never forget my granddaughter. I took her to see Dragon Tales. I'll never forget this. And we went to see Dragon Tales, and we're in the car, and in the back of the car, she had all of her little friends. And then she, as we got out of the car, I went to close the back door, and she said, "Don't close the door, Papa." I said, "Why not?" "Because D, B, and G have to get out of the car." I said, "Who?" "My three friends came with me to Dragon Tales." So I got out of the car, wait for them to get out. Are they out now? Okay, hold their hands. Okay, so I'm walking to this place, holding hands with, I don't know who I'm holding hands with, but we got there. And then she said, "Did you buy tickets for them?" I said, "No, we got, everything's taken care of. Don't worry about it." We got inside, we're sitting down, the balloon man came. She wanted me to buy a balloon for each one of them. I said, "One balloon for everybody." It's totally amazing. But I love kids because they're such great teachers to us, because it's sad that we have to grow up and get this thing operating. Because this is the crazy land up here. We think too much, we analyze too much. So stuffed animals are a big part of it. And as a result of this little guy, I got involved with a lot of other little guys. You know, it's even interesting too. After my mother died, in the drawer of the dresser, I actually found things from my childhood. I had when I was born back in 1940, they put a toe tag on you, you know, with all your information on it. You know, now they put a band around you. I know, but it was a toe tag back then. I have that. I have my little booties when I was a little boy. You know, one end's worn out from where I was probably on the side. I have all these nice little memorabilia things from my childhood. I even have in the sunroom here at Starting Point, I have the dresser from when I was a baby. Now, it was made by J.B. Van Sciver. Some of you may remember that. And that thing, I'm going to tell you, it takes 4 men to lift that sucker up. That is solid. And that's been with me now for 82 years. And I see it all the time. It's a big part. I love memorabilia and being connected with it. It brings back that little kid that's inside of you. But also, one of the things I did, I got some more stuffed animals. So I'm going to ask little Vinny to sit here for a minute. I want to introduce you to one of my favorite people. This is Lucky. Lucky's been with me. I guess it's got to be at least, well, it goes back, married 30. It's got to be at least 44 years now. I got Lucky at that place called Walmart. And basically, he was a nice brown bear, but then he was kind of my companion. So I used to bring him in my car with me when I used to go. Remember back in the days when I used to go to place and give lectures and be different things, and Lucky would go with me. And I asked everybody in the recovery rooms, at the rehabs and every place else, to give him a hug. This little guy's been hugged probably by 1,500 recovering people. As a result now, when he rides in my car with me, it's like I have my recovery riding with me. My support group is with me. So now I nicknamed him Recovery Bear. He just has a lot of fun, just like Mark and Eric. So it's his Recovery Bear there. Okay, and it's fantastic. You know, it's all part of our journey. It's real important. But we see, he was in the car so much, he got lonely. So then I got him a buddy. I want you to meet his wife. I actually performed their wedding. It was not a problem. Okay. The two of them got together and they had a little one. Now this is Fluffy and this was Lucky. They had a little one called Muffy. Now Muffy's not here because my granddaughter confiscated him and decided she was going to raise him. So I'm hoping maybe in the future, a couple more little ones might show up. We'll see what happens. Okay. So the two of them are really connected together. That's why they're good guys. See, they really like each other. It's pretty neat. It'd be good. Okay. Well, it's almost like it's so much fun to go back with stuffed animals and be a child. I got to tell you another story about stuffed animals. You know, it's interesting because my wife's sister is mentally challenged and she lives in a group home. We visit her a lot. In fact, we usually go on Sundays to visit her. And she has, her mother gave her a long time ago, a very little stuffed animal called Oscar the Grouch. And I love Oscar, but she's such a simplicity with her. She talks to us. She says, we asked her what she wants to eat. She says, let me ask Oscar. So she talks to Oscar and she tells us what her and Oscar want to eat. And so every year we have a birthday party for Oscar in October. October 13th is Oscar's birthday. And March 13th is her birthday. She gets to have 2 parties a year now. And every time we take her out, we go to the dollar store and she has to buy birthday cards for Oscar. It's always going to be Oscar's birthday. We must have boxes of birthday cards. There's 2 for $1 at $2 a quarter now. But the concept is, it's just interesting, the little things. And I love being around her because of her simplicity and how beautiful she is. She makes us laugh and she just enjoys every little thing that she has. It's totally amazing. You know, I learned a lot from people that have that simplicity of life because they really enjoy every moment and they keep things really simple. And so I invite every one of you to find yourself a photograph of yourself as a little child, pull some memorabilia together, and then have some fun with it. And if you don't mind, you know, taking a photograph of it and sending it over to me, I would love to be able to share them with you. Okay? And that's important. Don't forget, Howie, send it over. Okay, I know you will. Okay, you better. Otherwise, I'll yell at you. Okay, that's the good part about it. All right. Now, what I want to do basically also tonight, I want to talk about my favorite, my most wonderful comic strip that involves all those wonderful characters. You know, Charlie Brown and Lucy and Linus, and of course, my buddy, my big buddy, the Snoopy. Say hello to Pat. Say hello to everybody. Here we go. Come on, John. We'll wave to Snoopy, John. Come on. Here we go. We got it. I can't see Karen, but Karen, Snoopy said hi to you. Not a problem. But see, we have to love Snoopy. There you are. There's Carol waving to Snoopy. Let me tell you about these characters. Believe it or not, that comic strip was put together by a Protestant theologian. And I didn't realize this, but all the characters in the comic strip represent a small microcosm of our personality traits. If you really sat down with all those characters, you would see where each one of those characters lives inside of each and every one of us. Let me use some examples tonight to bring it out. I'll show you what I mean. We start, of course, we always have to start off with Lucy. Lucy the Grouch. Lucy, who always has to, you know, bug everybody and organize everybody. Lucy is constantly trying to get everything that she wants, because Lucy operates on a philosophy. I call her Lucy the addict. I want what I want when I want it, and I want it now. She drives poor Schroeder crazy, the piano player. See, Schroeder has learned something. He learned how to hide and run away from life in his music. But she keeps going over there because she kind of likes him. And she bugs him and bugs him and bugs him. And he ignores her like crazy. But she never gives up. She's going to get her way, one way or another. She also has her own psychiatric counseling center. It's only a nickel, by the way. You guys need some help. But the bottom line is she's always willing to give advice out. And usually the one crazy one that always goes there to get advice, of course, is Charlie Brown. And Charlie Brown, she tells Charlie Brown stuff to do, and Charlie doesn't know what he's doing anyway. So it's just amazing. Charlie's always looking for somebody else to tell him what to do. It's a big part of it. So we get all caught up in that. So we have a little bit of Lucy inside of us. Lucy the controller, Lucy the codependent, the real big part of it. Lucy the little addict. Then we have Linus with his world famous security blanket. Now you got to remember, Linus can't live without that blanket. He holds on to it like crazy. So many of us have built dependencies in our life that we can't let go of. And Linus reminds us we have that dependent personality where I have to hold on to something. I'm afraid to let it go. I'm afraid to move on. I got to stay within my little realm all the time. It's just totally amazing. And as you get older, this even gets worse because you begin to want to have little rituals and stuff to this effect. But I find it interesting. We have a little bit of Linus inside of all of us as we built our dependencies, the things we become dependent on. Then, of course, there's Charlie Brown, good old Charlie Brown. Charlie, he is the typical codependent because he's always trying to make things work. Remember his famous baseball team? It always loses like 48-2 and nothing. And, you got crazy Lucy out there in right field. When the ball comes out, she watches it drop, then she picks it up and walks it back and gives to him instead of catching it. And Charlie has all this, everything's going to be wonderful. Everything's going to be great. He's a typical codependent. The famous cartoon is when you have Lucy the addict holding the football for Charlie Brown to kick. Charlie goes to kick it. She yanks it away. He flies up in the air and lands on his rear end. Gets up, lines up. She puts it down again. Boom, boom. After about 6 times, they say to Charlie, Charlie, don't you get it? She's not going to hold that football. And Charlie Brown always says, someday she will. See, Charlie Brown has the someday disease. Someday I'm really going to work on myself. Someday I'm going to make a meeting. Someday I'm going to do this work. Someday. Did you ever go to a codependent's funeral? Over the top of the casket, they have a big flower that says, someday. We're always putting things off, procrastinating. I'll get to it. Then finally, we have the ultimate character, good old Snoopy. See, I call Snoopy the Hound of Heaven. Snoopy is a spirit, a beautiful spirit. Just like Joe's little friend right there, it's a beautiful spirit. And I'm telling you right now, pets, stuffed animals, they are powerful connections to our higher power. It's a beautiful concept. And that's why it's a beautiful thing. Joe, thanks for bringing your friend in to see us tonight. Okay, we needed that. Perfect timing. It's a beautiful part of it. And the beautiful thing about life is, people are trying to teach us things. I got to tell you a story real quick, and I'll get back to Snoopy. My grandson got married, and they had the wedding out in the field. And the field right next to us, there were a lot of cows. We're out in the country. And as the wedding started, they were playing some music. All the cows came over right by the fence. And those almost looked like they were watching the wedding. It was totally amazing. I got the biggest kick out of it. I really think that animals and pets and things of that effect, and also little children have a sixth sense. They can really connect to us. But watch what Snoopy does. That's why I call him the Hound of Heaven. He's got this spirit inside of him, this energy. And there's a Snoopy inside of each and every one of us. Yes, Virginia, there is a Snoopy. You got to get in touch with that little Snoopy inside you and watch what happens. They tell Snoopy, be careful. Lucy's having a crab in. She's miserable today. Stay away from her. Snoopy don't worry about that stuff. He goes right up and knocks on her door. When she answers it, he kisses her on the nose and beats it the hell out of there. It's called detach with love. See, Snoopy is not afraid to face things. He also knows when it's time to get out of there. And so I get a kick out of that, because what does recovery do to us a lot of times? We get ourselves into those crazy moods, and our spirit inside tells us, come on, open up, heal yourself, work on yourself. Look what Snoopy does to Linus. He's always stealing his security blanket. Well, guess what? Recovery takes away our dependencies, and we get scared. You see, I've said this so many times. When you first get into recovery, you start to make changes. It's kind of scary, isn't it? Because we're not used to it. We're used to patterns. We're used to things we do in our life. And that's why to get out of pattern is kind of scary sometimes. But Snoopy says, no problem. Celebrate, enjoy. Charlie Brown is always trying to put Snoopy into obedience school to straighten him out. Every time he gets out, what does he do? He drives Charlie crazy. You can't control a spirit and energy. That's why I love Snoopy. He's one of my favorite people on the face of this earth. You know, I got Snoopy all over my office here. He's up there, he's all over the place. I can't turn the computer or I'd show you. But it's a beautiful part of my life. I love this little guy. And those characters are a big part of my journey. Even on Facebook in the morning, I try to post a lot of the Snoopy quotes, because Snoopy has so many beautiful quotes, and they're very spiritual. And I really believe this is the spirit or the spiritual part of us. We have some deep down inside of us. God has given us this beautiful spirit. Don't be afraid to activate it, to make it come alive. Try to remember how special each one of us is. And get that spirit alive and get it kicking and have some fun. I shared that with you because I wanted to kind of bring to the end of our thing tonight with my buddy Snoopy, because I really believe he is recovery. He's connected to I call him the Hound of Heaven. He's a big part of this process. And that's why I like him. He's a good man. Beautiful. Okay, so thanks, Snoops. I wanted to share this with you today because I think we got to take a break once in a while and just be ourselves. You know, we live in a world with a lot of problems, as we experienced yesterday. A lot of problems that we're going to experience even more. But we have to learn to walk our journey, to walk our life in the middle of all this, to pray for others and be connected and be part of the journey. And I hope and pray that all of us as recovering people connected with the steps of recovery, can really help ourselves to begin to find a way to live a good, positive life. And so enjoy your stuffed animals, enjoy your assignments. I'd love to get some feedback from you on the assignments. Don't forget that. Give me some feedback. Okay, Tammy, give me some feedback on those assignments and see what's going on. Enjoy your memorabilia from your childhood. We're going to do a lot more of that when we get into the recovery process with codependency. I'll be doing a lot of inner child work with you. We'll get connected with all that stuff, see what happens with it. But I want to pray tonight and ask God, our higher power, to guide us and be with us, and ask us that we're able to activate the inner Snoopy inside of us. Because I really believe that the higher power has given us the spirit of life, the spirit of love, the spirit of positive energy. That's inside of every one of us. What we have to do is let it come alive. That's what's important. So let us pray. God, we come before you tonight in prayer. We thank you for all the wonderful gifts you've given us. We thank you for the spirit that we have inside of ourselves as a person, that part that makes us the unique individual that we are. Teach us to honor ourselves, to free our spirit, to share it, connect it with others, to be open to new things and new directions. Teach us to realize that deep down inside there is a little child inside of us, a little child that will teach us, that will love us and help us to celebrate and enjoy life, no matter how many years we're on this earth. For we are truly, truly beautiful little children. So to be able to let those little children, the little child inside of you come alive, celebrate it, get connected back to the things you are connected with in life, and realize how beautiful and special we are. And so in this spirit, we come together, we thank you. We have a lot of gratitude and love for all the things you've given us. And just realize the importance of celebrating life, celebrating each moment, and just being grateful for the moments we have each and every day we're on this earth. We pray and we ask this, and we ask your blessing also on all those who are going through their struggles, for all those who have left this earth. We ask you bless them and guide them too, and be with them and help them on their journey. We ask this every day, and we pray this in your name. Amen. Okay. Now I'm going to see if you can unmute yourself, because our maestro has been waiting to lead us in the serenity prayer. And so whenever you're ready, Pat, it's all yours. I turn it over to you.
God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. God's will, not mine, be done.